everyone, welcome back to Emgen Gardening. Today we're going to be doing a mini June tour. We just did our May garden tour. It was a full tour. So this one we just wanted to kind of peek around our garden in the front and the backyard to see what is in bloom and what has grown tremendously. We just had outstanding amounts of thunderstorms and rain. So our garden has flourished, but so have the weeds. And because of the rain, we haven't really been able to tackle a lot of the weeds. So with all of our garden tours, we're super transparent and you get to see what is doing very well and what is on our list to tackle. So let's get started. Our hanging baskets are doing phenomenally, and so is our pink climbing rose right by our front porch. Our hibiscus, both of them are doing great. Last year we had a ton of problems with some worms, some caterpillar damage. We are not seeing that this year, so that's great. Oh, ladybugs. That might be why we're not seeing a lot of caterpillars. These are gonna get really big. They're the dinner plate size hibiscus. We have a hot pink one and like a white and pink mix one. But our in-ground pink rose is blooming again. A lot of our roses are in a lull right now. It's the end of June, they're kind of in a lull, but our pink rose right here just pushed new growth. And it still smells amazing. We also had a surprise come up in our pine tree bed. We did not think that any of our daisies were alive. And look! We have a daisy. I think these are the amazing, I'll put it on the screen. Very robust apparently. I'm pretty sure this was the last one that we had planted and all the other ones did not make it. A lot of things are out of bloom right here in the pine tree bed. You can see the remnants of the lilies, but we have our black-eyed Susans about to pop. They should be coming in the next few weeks, starting to bloom. Same with our cone flowers. This one is going to be a white Blanco echinacea. And then our crab apple tree bed is completely full. The penstemon is out of bloom, but it was gorgeous. We love that kind of open dragon mouth type blooms as the penstemon is. So we have 4 of them in this bed and they were absolutely beautiful. But one of my all-time favorites, the bee balm, is blooming. It's hard to see, but with the bee balm, the fragrance is outstanding. The foliage is fragrant, as is the bloom, and it attracts pollinators like crazy. And it's just such an interesting bloom structure. It's kind of like spidery. It's very cool. And then our pink cone flowers are coming out. They're gonna be popping and probably falling and spilling over. Our horizon rose is also still pushing blooms and a ton of new growth with new buds forming. This is an amazing rose. We absolutely love it. I'm pretty sure it's a knockout variety, but it is beautiful. Our dahlias are doing great, really pushing growth. Our alliums are out of bloom, but my plan is to cut them and dry them and preserve them so that I can use these in fall arrangements, because how awesome would that be to have this really cool spherical structure in a flower arrangement. Very exciting. In here, it's hard to see, but we also have State Fair zinnias. We put, I think, 18 in this bed. So they will also be competing with the dahlias. We're gonna have big dinner plate dahlias and zinnias all in this bed with our Supertunia vistas. It's going to be really, really nice. We have, as always, volunteer sunflowers everywhere, and we cannot escape the tomatoes. I did have an idea to transplant this and put it in the school vegetable bed, but I honestly think it might be too big for our school garden bed. So it might just have to stay here and we'll have cherry tomatoes in the front yard again. Not a big deal. So we have our pattern going with our dahlias and our zinnias and our Supertunia vistas all the way until, ooh, look, a bud. Oh, it's gonna be big. This is such a cool texture. It's gonna be perfect, I think. So right behind in our cherry tree bed, we have not picked out a showstopper piece for the center of our weeping cherry bed that has died. But we also have to transplant all of these sunflowers to the roots flower bed. They are going to take over like they did last year. That's not something that we want. However, it would be great in that location. So our plan is still to transplant these sunflowers over there. And that's gonna free up a lot of space that we need to dig out this dead tree and put something else there. Other than that, our At Last roses are in a rose lull right now. Dahlias are popping up. You can't even see the Weigela in there. It is there. It is a nice scene though with the pretty phlox into the Weigela. Our perennial salvia is due for a midsummer shear. So just like we did in the At Last video, we have to shear that back to a new set of leaves and it'll pop up brand new growth for the end of the season. Something that we put together for these little simple baskets, standing baskets. We have just some geraniums, some red geraniums, and then we have Supertunia Mini Vista Whites and some Supertunia Really Reds. So this will get really big as the season goes on. And then if you just turn around, you'll see we have some more projects that are going to start sneaking their way into some videos, but also we have our echinaceas already blooming in here and our beautiful heucheras putting out growth as well. I love all of these. Their blooms are so pretty and delicate. So this bed will fill in really nicely with that really nice contrasting colors. So in our driveway bed, our hydrangea Limelight standards are huge and very strong this year, which I appreciate. Also, the one that was totally broken last year completely recovered. It shot out new growth all the way up. Yay! So that is good news. They are just forming some buds. I'll show you hopefully one on that one down there, but soon we will be having beautiful pinnacle Limelight hydrangeas on our trees. We have our lavender shooting up new, beautiful and fragrant blooms. And then here's one of our Sage Advice Russian sage. Huge pollinator attractor, super drought tolerant and heat tolerant. It thrives in this bed. Our native yarrow that is technically a weed, but we don't cut it back because I love yarrow. For the bloom, the disc type blooms and the really ferny foliage. Our perennial grasses are doing great, and if you peek in here, you can see some of our red hot pokers popping up. And then we discovered our mystery with this type of butterfly bush. Brand new growth shot up from the ground, so clearly this isn't one that needs to be pruned where new leaves are growing on the old stems. It's gonna shoot up from the ground. So now we feel confident coming in and actually cutting out all of this dead, knowing that the plant is not coming back off of this. So that is good news. And here's some of our pinnacle hydrangeas coming up. They're going to start out lime, go to a white, and then a hot pink. They're very pretty. If we go to our veggie patch, this is where the weeds have really taken over. We only got 3 corn plants. We planted 8, we only got 3. I think I might just plant more seeds and see what happens. We'll find out. But they're really healthy, the ones that are growing. It's just there's only 3 of them, so. And then you look at our berry patch and it's hard to see what is berries and what is weeds. However, we do have blueberries. I have been eating these. They taste literally like jelly. And I have eaten raspberries from our raspberry plant. Little raspberries. So that's super fun. We're gonna clean this up, make sure that everything has enough space so that it can thrive. But excited to have it here nonetheless. As we go into our veggie patch here, potatoes are great. They are starting to wilt, which shows me that it's getting to the time of harvest. We still have probably about a month, but it's getting there. Our cucumbers are just going crazy, coming all the way out, wrapping around everything. We already have some cukes forming. They're pretty much just taking over all of this. Our peppers are in there somewhere, and our tomatoes are doing well. As you can see, they're huge. It's time for thinning. We did do a video on tomato thinning last year, so if you wanted to check that out, go for it, because this is not a healthy way for your tomatoes to be. So if you want good production, you do need to thin them. So check out that video. And our eggplants love this spot and already have little eggplants forming on the inside. Our tropical containers really took off after all of that rain from those thunderstorms. We have had a couple sunny days, so they are living their best lives. You can see with our cannas how they look when they are out of bloom, but if you peek in, all of this is going to be new blooms. So with the cannas, again, you don't have to deadhead them. All of this will completely die back on its own, and then the new blooms will take over. The coleus, the strawberry drop, is doing great. So is the watermelon. And our super bells are also doing great in this area. Come and check out the other one. They're really doing a nice job blending in with each other. And it's only been a few weeks since we've planted them up. So I think the rain and the heat have really made it successful. So right in our hydrangea bed, we have our Incredible Blush. These are smooth hydrangeas, so they get kind of more bulbousy than the Pinnacle hydrangeas. They get more cone shape. And every year we have such a hard time pruning this as far back as we can because it gets very big and monstrous. But they bloom in a very light pink to start, and then they actually turn into a very hot pink as the fall goes on, and they get very big. This is actually pretty strong for them, but it's still quite heavy. It looks really nice when our regular limelight hydrangea is in bloom as well. The contrast in hydrangeas are really nice, but I also like that the smooth hydrangea blooms earlier, much earlier than the limelights do. So it's nice having some hydrangea color before the pinnacles start. And then right here we have our asters. Remember, this one was a total volunteer this year. Spread from on that side. Beautiful light periwinkle colors. We have a large one and then kind of a small one that kind of goes right there. So in our garage bed, Dizzy has solidified his running path and completely demolished all the plants that were growing there. But because it is June, the tiger lilies are out, and we love having our tiger lilies. Hopefully they spread out more as the years go on, because this whole entire area was filled with tiger lilies just last year. So hopefully they fill back in. Our climbing rose, as you can tell, needs a little maintenance. It's getting pretty big and sprawling out. So we need to kind of tuck it in and prune it up. But we do have some phlox, some purple phlox, right underneath the rose that is blooming. And just like with those other buddleia butterfly bushes, we feel confident that this is alive. So now we can just prune back all of the dead because the new growth is coming up and forming buds already. We have our black-eyed Susans. I think only 2 of them survived the dizzy tornado. So hopefully they do okay. There were coneflowers back there. I don't know if those survived. We will find out. But we do have a hydrangea setting blooms back here. This is an interesting sun location, so we're glad that the hydrangea is getting enough sun. They are part sun to full sun, but obviously prefer full sun. So we're happy that it is forming blooms here. So in our full shade bed, we did put some annuals in there. We have some caladiums that we did put in. We have some impatiens, some red and white impatiens, and then we have a repeat of the strawberry drop coleus and the mini watermelon coleus, along with the heucheras that were already in here and the lungwort that was already in here, and the sweet spire, which we need to prune and cut off all of that dead. But like with the garage bed, this got a dizzy tornado, and holy moly did the coleus suffer. Oh, the begonias in the back also got hit by it. So we will see how much actually survives. And it's just a learning curve for us of what a puppy does in a garden space. So we're very patient and we're kind of going with the flow and learning what is strong enough to kind of defend itself against a Frenchie and what we might not want to plant again next year. But we have a lot of new growth on our smoke bush. We still haven't gotten blooms on it yet, so I'm hoping in the next couple years we'll have blooms. But holy moly, our veg bed. So I have been picking the snap peas off and eating them. We do have carrots going. Dizzy? We do have carrots growing. And then we do have yellow squash growing in here. If you peek in, you can see a ton of yellow zucchini growing. Now, this plant, the volunteer one that was back here, I don't think that it's a zucchini or a yellow squash. The leaf structures are very different on both the zucchini and the yellow squash than this giant thing. I'm thinking it might be a pumpkin, but I honestly have no idea. So it is having flowers. So hopefully it is pollinating and doing what it needs to do to produce whatever kind of fruit it is going to produce. But I'm very interested to find out what it is. Just because it is so different. It's very round compared to like the more kind of jagged ones. I don't know. We also have garlic back here, if you remember. Now, in the next video coming up, we are going to be harvesting that garlic. We do harvest it around the 4th of July. It hasn't gotten sun in the last couple weeks because of all of this, so I'm very interested to see what kind of condition it is. And hopefully we don't have a lot of like moldy, squishy garlic, because that would be super sad. Hopefully it's just in there doing its thing and we'll be able to harvest a lot. What is that? What do we think this is? Do we think this is a pumpkin? I'm thinking a pumpkin. All right, our grapes are forming really well. If you get a really good close-up right there. There's a lot forming. And last year we had to give away grapes because we couldn't eat them quick enough. So we'll probably do the same thing. I'll probably bring them to work and just hand out bundles of grapes. Because why not? Why not? So right behind me, our Superbina Ombre is doing really nice. I think it was a much better choice to do Superbinas in these containers than the Vistas. They are performing a lot better just with the amount of rain that we got, plus the heat. I think they're a lot happier. So they're putting on a lot of beautiful color and they're intermixing nicely. We have our apples growing really well, bulking up a lot. We might have to do some thinning this year. Again, this is an apple and a pear year, not like last year. Last year was cherries and peaches. This year is apples and pears. So we have apples all the way down here. And this is actually Dizzy's favorite new game, is to come and pick some of these unripe apples and pretend that they're tennis balls. So I'm actually not mad at it because we just have so many apples that I don't think we're gonna be without. Likewise, we have our pears doing the same thing. We have pears everywhere, all up in here. And on the other side, we have some other pears. Remember, these are the trees that have around 4 to 6 different varieties on each tree. And it is super efficient when you're living in a downtown, urban, smaller yard type setting to have these trees, these fruit trees that can produce many varieties in one tiny compact form. Our peppers and tomatoes are doing great, as are all of these strawberries that are in this bed. Perfect little snacks for our pooches. Bessie. You sit. Ready? Good girl. Our sunflowers are doing really well. We transplanted some of these from the front earlier in the season because they were just getting out of control. Even at that point, this is what he does. He finds little ones that are ripe and he'll eat them. Can you get it? Can you get it? No. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. The nasturtiums are taking over the pot. We do have some larkspur coming up, but it is mostly nasturtiums. They're having a hard time with the heat, but they're still producing like crazy, so I appreciate that. And our very last stop is in our courtyard. Our bleeding hearts are still pushing growth. These will start dying back very soon, like within the next couple of weeks. We're going to be seeing a lot of very tired looking bleeding hearts with some yellowing. That's when we do cut them back, and then we can plant something else right here. It really fills up a giant spot to plant new things. Last year we had some people comment and say that we should put some fall crops in this area, so we might try that. Maybe I'll put more corn here. Maybe I'll try that. Our azalea got really big this year, and our hydrangea limelight, we have another hydrangea limelight here, also put a lot of growth. It's really coming into its own, which is nice to see because it struggled for a very long time in a different part of our yard that was not getting enough sun. We have some more volunteer sunflowers because, of course, and then we do have a couple more rose bushes back here. Some more echinacea coneflowers, and this, if you remember, is a fall blooming flower that kind of has a very like wisteria type white bloom that comes off. We also added our hanging railing baskets. These are filled with Supertunia Vista jazzberries, a beautiful color that matches our jellyfish hanging baskets up there, which have put on a lot more jellyfish type appeal with the Dichondra Silver Falls hanging down a lot more. We're really excited about those. We're really hoping that by the end of the season, it's going to be a like jungle. So that is the tour, the mini June tour 2023. We hope that you enjoyed it. Again, we wanted to show some blooms and some things that have been going really well. I'm sure you saw a lot of things that we need to do, and especially now that it's not nonstop thunderstorms, we will be able to finally get on with some of those planting projects and some of our maintenance projects. So if you liked this video, give us a paw up. Hiya! Comment down below if you liked any of the flowers. We'll list as many as we can in the description box if you wanted to find something in your local nursery. And don't forget to subscribe to Empkin Gardening. We hope you're having a fantastic Saturday, and we will see you in the next video coming up. Have a great day. Bye.